possible, where you could actually change the world, would you want to go? That's the premise behind a Disney movie titled Tomorrowland, in which all things and advancements in technology and science are now isolated to a place that is only made accessible through time travel to getting to Tomorrowland. We've heard the saying many times, if you build it, they will come. And that was the premise for Disneyland. And Disney had this vision that if we build this wonderful kingdom, this place that would be the happiest place on earth, people would come. And people have come. Many of us ourselves have traveled to Disneyland or to Disney World or places around the world to experience the magic of a kingdom, to experience the technology behind a Tomorrowland, a Frontierland, an Adventureland, a Cartoon Land, a place in which we too experience new things that capture us when we least expect it. This whole premise of build it and they come has been something that churches have tried to live with over the years. They build edifices after edifices, new buildings, new structures, with the concept and idea that if you build it, people will come and they will want to be disciples of Jesus Christ. It's not always true, though, is it? They'll build places and people don't come. It's an approach that seems to appeal on the short run, but eventually over time, it loses its drive. And why does it lose that sense of novelty? Why does it lose that sense of forward momentum? Well, it goes with the idea and the notion that without vision, there is no plan, or as we read in the Old Testament, Scripture would tell us, without a vision, the people perish. See, Tomorrowland is a place that can take us to where all those wonderful technological, those advances are in life, but without a sense of vision of how you utilize those, they are nothing. Yesterday, we celebrated a vision as our nation. A vision that still carries us today as citizens of the United States of America. We hold this vision that tells us that we hold these truths to be self-evident. That, and I edit here, all people are created equal. That they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. As a nation, we live in Tomorrowland. We live within a vision. We live within those places that have captured us from our past and now bring us to today and now beyond. Luke's use in the book of Acts of Joel's prophecy shapes the church's mission for the church in the book of Acts that we typically are depicting around the season of Pentecost. You see, God's Spirit guides and directs an element of salvation through the community of faith. It has its tomorrow as something that has come alive to today. You see, Joel is no longer a prophetic voice for tomorrow. Joel, as Luke uses him and describes him, is a voice for today and for to now. You see, Tomorrowland is today land. Today's people shall have dreams and visions that will reveal the reign of God in a place right now. The dream and the vision is that which is open to all people, not just the Jewish community of Luke's day, but also to the Gentiles and Jews alike. It's a vision that's even an account for today. We've been playing with this whole idea the last couple weeks of calling First Church First Land, a parody on Disneyland, and how these different places seem to connect and have elements of how we are disciples of Jesus Christ. Today we talk about Tomorrowland. The whole notion of being a disciple for Jesus is walking out in that sense of vision that leads us in the mission to make disciples of Jesus Christ. For Disneyland, one of the attractions that is near Tomorrowland is the ride called It's a Small World. Do you remember that ride? It's a Small World was originally designed for the 1964 New York State's World's Fair. Did anybody go? Every once in a while, John has been there. It was sponsored by Pepsi at the time. And the song itself, the one that seems to get into our head and doesn't want to get out, is a song that was written around 1962 amid the Cuban Missile Crisis as a way to promote and influence a message of peace and brotherhood. I invite you to make yourself comfortable as we take a little ride into It's a Small World. Get it out? You know, it's about an 8 to 10 minute ride. We gave you a 2-minute ride there. Probably just enough to kind of confuse you all day long now with that in your head. But with all the different welcomes and greetings that you see on that sign, to the different languages that are used to sing, it's a small world after all. We get a glimpse of a Tomorrowland. A world that is one together, a world in which that mission was being cast out as the early church experienced on the day of Pentecost. As people began speaking many different languages, others began to understand those languages in which where they were from. And some people stood back and they said, it must be the day after 4th of July. These people have hangovers. They're still drunk. And Peter says, no. It's too early. They're not drunk, but they're filled with God's Spirit. They're filled with a vision where voices of God's love will go around the world to a Tomorrowland that begins today. First Land, First Church, is a vision. It's a vision that started in a small barn and has transitioned to about 4 different facilities to where we are today. It's a vision that has been from the friendliest church or place around to be a church that is equipping disciples in its community and around the world. It's a place to grow in our faith, and within that comes dreams and visions and hopes. Many clergy have stood before you and in this place over the many decades to proclaim the love of Jesus Christ, to guide us as a congregation of what we are doing in the future and where God is calling us now. There have been mission trips not only to San Diego, but some of us have been to Jamaica from this congregation for the sake of loving Jesus Christ and living out our faith. We have connections all over the world that take us to Tonga, to Europe, to Alaska, all around this wonderful world of ours, because we have caught a vision on many times as we have come here to be a part of this congregation. You see, our dream is not a vision to build something in the hopes that it will attract more people to the church. You see, rather, when we capture this vision of a tomorrow land, we're shaping a vision that builds up a people. That builds up a people rather than a building for the sake of the community of faith. One of the visions we have here at First Church is a vision of a community or a ministry of music and the arts. I shared with you a week or so ago how wonderful we are entrenched in the arts here at First Church. Whether it be Bonnie or Don Smith, who's been playing the organ for us today, to the various choirs that come here, to the visual arts, to the performing arts that we see. The arts remind us that we are a part of God's creation. You've heard me say art is creation. And God invites us to be a part of that very vision in which we too are part of the Creator's hands to create something new and wonderful. It's a vision that allows us to make God alive in our world. Part of that vision allows us then to invite people in to make this their performance hall, but their living hall. A place where God touches their lives and things are made anew. The vision that we have as we look around our community and our facility is, what are we going to do with that old building we call an annex? It's just to the right of our parking lot. We've had a vision of a place that might, house individuals to come and to study, to relax, to read, to have a cup of coffee, but I think there's something we're missing. It's not just a place to come and rest, but why can't the annex be a place in which we allow for creation to take place? We're so blessed to be smack dab located now in downtown Mesa, as we always have been, with a wonderful arts center across the street. Art is accessible to our community, but in often cases, the community isn't as accessible to the art that is available here in our community. So I want to cast a vision today as Bob and I here are starting another year with you. What would it mean to be a community of arts? A community in which we allow people to come and to create, whether it be something from music or out of objects, out of performance. A place where people can come because assessing the arts might just be a little too expensive to get somewhere else. And that's where a vision has gotten clouded. Because when a vision has a price tag, it then becomes a commodity rather than a piece of transformation in a person's life. So this vision for the Annex Center to be a coffee house someday has not been lost, but I think something even more now as we begin to step back and to say, what is God calling us to do with that facility? I'd like it to be an art center. To reach out to people within our community who can't afford to utilize the services of, say, the Mesa Arts Center or others around the community. A place that allows people to be creative. A place that allows it to be a bridge that we can utilize our resources to introduce the community to the community that's before us. It's a vision that takes a step back. Rather than the church saying, how can we go out in the community and fix someone else? It's going to the community, to the people who live here in our midst, to you and to others, and saying, what is God calling you to bring to a community of faith? It's a topsy-turvy, upside-down perspective. That it's not us to go and to colonize the downtown neighborhood, but to decolonize and to allow for new things to come forth, to allow for God's eighth day of creation to take over and to bless us as we always have been blessed. It's an approach, again, that reminds us not what we do for the community, but what the community can bring and offer to us. It's a vision that calls us to be one. Not us, not them, or over there, or south of Broadway, or east and south of Mesa Drive, or even south and west of Alma School. It's a place in which we are called to be one together. And what better image do we have of this sense of one, of coming together, this vision, than in the communion table? It's within the liturgy itself in which we hear the words that we're called to be one with Christ, one with each other, and one in ministry to all the world. One with Christ, one with each other, and one in ministry to all the world. Many of you tell me you get up in the morning and you read something